It's a process. No matter how you go about it. Masi Okechukwu Nkere, Omalicha Nwoke, Public Government and Exam Finance Minister, is humbly campaigning for global Biafran financial support for the purpose of Finland Biafran Defense Forces and redeclaration-related activities. I appreciate all Biafrans who have been supporting our election movement. I also urge you to massively support more than ever, especially in these critical times. Oh, my fellow lovely great Biafrans, come together and support our Prime Minister Mazi Simon Ekpa, who is currently working tirelessly to hand over our freedom to us this year, 2024. Freedom is coming, yeah. Yo. Masi Okechukwu Nkere. Salute every Biafran, especially. Okechukwu kama. Okechukwu kaina yo no. Okechukwu kama. Onyamana gidi bakulo wunu. Okechukwu kama. Welu didi chukwu kasebele. Okechukwu kama. Okechukwu kama. Okechukwu Nkere nekelunu. Okechukwu kama. Okechukwu kaina yo no. Okechukwu kama. Okechukwu kaina yo na nyasi. Okechukwu kama. There is no magic to progress and success in life. Life gives back what you give to it. It takes a man who believes in himself to create wealth. So keep working hard and never lose hope in what Ayakata. It's not easy. Make it take and judge. I want to use this special opportunity to recognize great deeds. I can't also forget General Philip F. Young. Okama Dalos. Can't you take no man on the ground? Airborne. De facto government in homeland. A special recognition to every Biafran who have been supporting from day one. May Elohim continue to flourish in different endeavors. This is the Gano. Amadi one of Biafra. Minister Obatobie Okechukwu Nkere Wokoma Okechukwu kama Okechukwu kaina yo no Onyamana gidi bakulo wunu Okechukwu kama Welu didi kasebele Okechukwu kama Okechukwu kama Mama biko yo polisa Okechukwu kama Okechukwu kaina yo no kama Okechukwu kaina yo na nyasi Okechukwu kama Ayole Igakorole garole Uwi wole Chetakwa na lubofuo 1 + 1 is 2, 2 + 2 is 4. Ino. Onye buru chi yuza no. so close. It's so close. Okay, Chukukama. Never you give up, no, no, no. Okay, Chukukama. Believe in your dreams, brother. Okay, Chukukama. Say no, 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 no. Okay, Chukukama. Okay, Chukukama. Never you done, no, no. Okay, Chukukama. Keep your head up and find him. Okay, Chukukama. A big shout out to Chukukere. I salute you, my PM, as a Simon. Life is when you parent. The greatest shout out goes to the media team, great talents. They won. Life is a, no matter how you go about it. Get you kunkere. Manage okay. The Biafran Republic Government and Exile Finance Minister is humbly campaign for Biafran financial support for the Finland Convention, Biafran Defense Forces, and declaration related activities. I appreciate all Biafrans who have been supporting our liberation movement. I also urge everyone to massively support more than ever, especially screens. Oh, my fellow Biafrans, let's come together and support our Prime Minister, Master Simon, who is currently working tirelessly to help us this year, 2024. Freedom is coming, yeah, yeah. Yo, 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 yo. Massive. Salute every beer specialist. Yeah. Oh, okay, Chukukama. Okay, Chukukaina, no, 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 no. Okay, Chukukama. Onyamana gidi gidi bakulong. Okay, Chukukama. Well, did Chukukaze Bele? Chukukama. Okay, Chukukama. Okay, Chukukere nekelunu. Chukukama. Okay, Chukukaina, no, no, no. Chukukama. Okay, Chukuna nyasi. Okay, Chukukama. There is no magic to progress and success in life. Life gives back what you give to it. It takes a man who believes in himself to create wealth. So keep working hard and never lose hope in what you believe in. Ayakata. Life is not easy. Make it take and I want to use this page to recognize great Godoku. I can't also forget General Effiong Okama Saw. Come to the one underground. Could be way. I ain't a fuck alone. Airborne. De facto government in homeland. Especially to every different is important from day one. You continue to flourish in your different endeavors. This is Mazina de Gano, Amadike, one of Biafra. The Prime Minister, Obatabie, Ogechukukere, Simukelekio, Mukama, Ogechukukama. One plus one is two. 2 plus 2 is enough. Onye puru chi uzo don't give up when it's so close. It's so close. Okay, Chukukama. Never you give up, no, get Chukukama. Believe in your dreams, brother. Get Chukukama. Never you say no. Okay, Chukukama. Okay, Chukukama. Never you down your faith, no. Okay, Chukukama. Keep your head up, keep on fighting. Okay, Chukukama. A big shout out to Mazi Ogechukwu. I salute you, Mazi Simoniba. Life is sweet when you're patient. The greatest shout out goes to the media team, great talents. They won. Life is a process, no matter how you go about it. Mazi Ogechukwu, the Biafran Republic of the Finance Minister, is somehow campaigning for global. Kilo almost there.
And unlike, we're not. Biafrans, all right. The hour is here, and we all know the reason why we are here today. We are here because it's our right, and today is our first congressional briefing, and we have our special here. senior fellow, American Enterprise Institute. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Acting Prime Minister. I don't need, first of all, it's good to see Biafra represented so well in Washington, D.C. Unlike in Nigeria, and unlike in Finland, we're not West dissidents. I'm a historian by training, and especially with this audience, we don't need to tell you that Biafra may have redeclared its independence, but it has a long history. If we count the maps that European merchants, geographers, and other travelers dating back to the 17th century, then Biafra is actually older than the United States of America. We're not talking about a so-called secession. We're talking about decolonization. And when we look at Africa today, we must recognize that the problem of colonialism is no longer based in London and in Paris. It's based in places like Abuja and Lagos. The fact of the matter is, and for that matter, Yaoundé as well, the fact is that we are witnessing a second wave of decolonization in Africa right now. Biafra, Amazonia, Somaliland are at the front line of a struggle for freedom. Religious freedom as well as simply personal, economic freedom, political freedom. The fact of the matter is, though, when we talk about that front line of political, Biafra and Somaliland, we're also talking about a response to genocide. The fact of the matter is, when we look at modern history of Biafra and we see some of the key figures represented on this podium, and it's so appropriate that we're sitting here in a room dedicated to Veterans Affairs, to honor the veterans of the Biafra struggle. The fact of the matter is that they did not start the struggle for Biafran rights. Nigeria did. Nigeria agency. They have decision-making. No one forced Nigeria to undertake the pogroms of 1966. The decision that was made in Lagos. And we have seen the struggle for freedom in Biafra is a natural response to the repression, which is now more than 60 years old inside Nigeria, especially with regard to Biafra. Now, we can talk about genocide. And unfortunately, what occurred in Biafra from in the 1960s and so forth isn't the only case of genocide that the 20th century has seen. But what makes the history and the recognition of the Biafran genocide so important is this. When the Jews suffered the Holocaust, Germany afterwards acknowledged the Holocaust. The ideology that led to Nazism became stigmatized. Yes, there are still Nazis dead, but it is an ideology which is outside the realm of acceptable belief. The problem with genocide denial isn't simply a denial of fact, a denial of history. But when you don't acknowledge the genocide, then what you're actually doing that genocide occurred. So when you have someone like the late Muhammad Buhari, were covered in blood from the events of the Biafra genocide, rise to the presidency of Nigeria without anyone acknowledging his role. That simply perpetrates, legitimizes that genocide. Now, when it comes to genocide denial, I also have this to say. When people debate policy in the United States, one of the progressive slogans that we hear time and time again is no blood for oil. Well, I have a message for Alexander Stubb. No genocide for oil. Finland has been stood as kowtow to Turkey at the expense of the Kurds, at the expense of other dissidents, for the sake of getting Turkey to lift its de facto veto for Finland's NATO. Now he's kowtowing to the Nigerian government by arresting Simon Ekpa for the sole reason of advocating against genocide and of providing, frankly, at this point, the only reasonable way forward, given the actions of the Nigerian state. Now, we can't engage in wishful thinking, and unfortunately, that has been the problem in the United States. I would argue that we're engaged in cynicism, where they simply want Nigeria's oil, and it's not Nigeria's oil, it's Biafra's oil, the Delta region and so forth. The fact of the matter is they feel it's easier to have a relationship with a dictator, and they're going to look the other way. Never let the Europeans pretend that they stand as a representative of human rights when they act in so racist and way that is so contrary to life, liberty, justice, freedom, political rights. The fact of the matter is the Europeans need to be called out every day for that. Finland, especially. Now, I would go so far as saying Finland doesn't deserve the plaudits that so many people, Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, tend to ascribe to Scandinavian powers. I would today argue that through its actions behind the scenes, by laundering the Nigerian government, by allowing, by cynically using this mantle which it had developed over decades as a protector of human rights, Finland has become one of the most cynical promoters of human rights abuses, on par with Russia, with China, and with others. The only difference is Russia and China are much more open about what they're doing. Finland thinks they can have it both ways. Now, when it comes to the United States, however, the United States is in place. We operate, we have two problems here. First is the problem of the American perception of history. Whether you're a Democrat, I don't care. And the fact of the matter is Biafra, like Cyprus, like India, should be a bipartisan cause. There's nothing partisan about freedom and liberty. And I say that as someone who personally is, but I was a Congressional Black Caucus Foundation fellow, working for the late Congressman Bill Gray, who was a Democrat. So I say this not just as wishful thinking, someone who truly believes in the importance of principle and its triumph over cynical partisanship. But let's face it, both the Republicans and the Democrats have a problem, and American society in general, and that's general ignorance of history. In our own political culture, whether it's a Republican after years of Democratic power or a Democrat coming in after years of Republican power, there's a tendency to believe that history is only 4 or and that every president who enters the Oval Office, or Secretary of State who enters that 7th floor of their office of the Dwight D. Eisenhower building in Foggy Bottom, that they can somehow have a tabula rasa, that the past doesn't matter. Well, let me set the record straight. The past does matter. The past is forgotten. And we wouldn't be here today if it weren't for repeated to work within the system, only to be crushed. Nigerian corruption, Nigerian dictatorship, and Nigerian cynicism. And if I may, Nigerian religious animosity parts of some sectarian communities. Now, one problem, of course, is then that U.S. historical ignorance, and this is where it's so important for the Biafrans to really rally, to meet with Democrats, to meet with Republicans, not to meet, and most times meeting with those who agree with you, but actually concentrating their efforts on those who disagree. The fact of the matter is, Americans need an education in history, and they need an education in history quickly, because the price of American ignorance will be tragedy and more killings in Biafra. Now, that's one problem. The other problem is the tendency of the United States to engage. There are two types of ambassadors that the State Department sends abroad. And I'm not talking about ambassadors, civil service, foreign service versus political appointees. There's some good political appointees, there's some appointees, and the same thing is true with the professional foreign service. But among ambassadors, however they get their job, there's two general styles. One style, and we've seen this too often in Nigeria, and I can name other places where we've seen this, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Somalia as well, takes an ambassador, and that ambassador believes that the best way to represent American interests is to ingratiate themselves to a dictator, to have zero tension with that dictator, and that oftentimes means amplifying that dictator's propaganda, his rhetoric, to his face. Well, the State Department should realize and should recognize that dictators have no shortage of sycophants. It shouldn't be the job of American ambassadors to join the sycophants. George Shultz, the Reagan-era Secretary of State, was famous when a new ambassador was appointed. He would bring them up to office, which was an elegant room, not one we're standing in the U.S. Congress. And he had a big globe next to his desk. And he would always ask the ambassador appointee, point to, and if they pointed to Nigeria, or they pointed to France, or they pointed to Burma, or they pointed to Pakistan, God help them. He would point to the United States and say, this is your country. You never forget. When we send ambassadors abroad, their job should be to speak truth to power. It shouldn't be to kowtow to a dictator. And if that means calling out Nigeria for its abuses in Biafra, for its abuses of religious freedom, so be it. It may mean you're not going to get invited as the ambassador to this reception or that state dinner. Well, that's the price of being an ambassador, truthful. Your job isn't to make a dictator feel good. It's to American interests as a U.S. ambassador. And one of the top American interests is religious freedom. The reason why religious freedom should be such a top priority is it really is the canary line. It really is the metric by which to see whether a dictator's rhetoric and actions. When former Secretary of State Antony Blinken went to Nigeria and he met with the late Muhammadu Buhari, and he removed Nigeria from the religious freedom watch list, that was wishful. It didn't make Nigeria a better place. It didn't stop the killings in Biafra. It didn't stop the killings elsewhere in Nigeria. All it did was signal to the Nigerian government that they could quite literally get away with murder. Wishful thinking has consequence. The United States also needs not to believe its own spin and not to try to force, cynically use the Biafran issue to advance its other causes. So, for example, I don't know how many times I've talked to people who are partial to the Nigerian government in the United States and will accept the Nigerian laws. And they will say that what we see happening in the Southeast has nothing to do with religious hatred, with religious intolerance on the part of the Nigerian government. It's all about climate change. Let me tell you this, and I've actually said this to the State Department. Climate change does not charter buses in order to ship Fulani militiamen into Biafra to kill Christians. That's not climate change. That's ethnic cleansing. That's religious hatred. That's sectarian cleansing. American wishful thinking isn't polite. It doesn't make diplomacy easier. It gets people killed. And this is also why it's so important for the Biafran people to rise and not only work to establish their freedom in Biafra, to reestablish their country. It's also important for them to educate Americans. Now, as many of you know, my background and what I did when I worked at PEOPLE actually focused much more in Middle East history. That's what my PhD is in, and so forth. And having worked for more than 2 decades on issues that have some parallels, let me say this, and this may be controversial today. Nigeria can't always be the enemy. And the reason I say this is, while Biafra must be free, there will be no compromise on it. At the same time, independent Biafra is only going to thrive when Nigeria, its neighbor, is at peace itself and with its neighbors. The fact of the matter is, the Biafrans are an engine of democracy. They were always historically the intellectual capital, the economic capital of Nigeria when they were Nigerian occupation. But at the same time, they have a role not only to win freedom for Biafrans, but that freedom is only going to be confirmed when Nigerians also win their freedom, when corruption no longer governs Nigeria. Nigerian military and Nigerian politicians don't cynically use religion in order to advance their own Swiss bank accounts. This is important. And this is a conversation, for example. It's understandable that we focus on Biafra. But this is an example which I've had in the past with Iraqi presidents and prime ministers and Kurdish presidents and prime ministers. And there's despite the century-long struggle of the Kurds, the so-called largest people without a nation, to win their freedom, men have also come to recognize that is going to take real reform instead of ruin for their neighbor next door. I've had this conversation with the Cypriots and the Greeks vis-a-vis Turkey as well. Turkey is a today, and Turkey is a problem, which is going to work with the Nigerian government in order to kill Biafrans. At the same time, what the Greeks and the Cypriots will tell you is, while today Turkey acts like an enemy, there can only be peace. Turkey fundamentally reforms. And so it's important when you speak and when you advocate for your cause, not only to promote freedom for Biafra, but to argue that Biafran freedom it's going to bring stability to the region. Biafra to be a model, not only for Biafra, it's going to be a model for Nigeria, so that Nigeria can get its act together, even as Nigeria heads towards the precipice. No one wants to, let me put it this way, many are familiar with the American satirical newspaper, The Onion. I remember a headline in that satirical newspaper after Russia invaded Georgia in 2008. It was a fake announcement by Condoleezza Rice, the Secretary of State, argued that the U.S. position is that no American allies should border Russia because it was just too difficult. The fact of the matter is, it's in no one's interest. It's always going to be a problem for occupied Biafra and for independent Biafra to border a failed state, to border an irredentist state, to border an aggressive military dictatorship. Independent Biafra is going to need to recognize that as Nigeria fails, and let's face it, today it's a failing state. It's a building, it's a 10-story building that's ridden with termites. The fact of the matter is that every military leader inside Nigeria is going to try to distract their own Nigerian public by trying to whip up frenzy against Biafra. So on one hand, you need to be prepared for that, and you recognize this because your history. But if there can be fundamental reform in Nigeria, then ultimately you will thrive and be the most prosperous country. Now, another point I need to make, and this is not for the people here, but some of the people abroad. When you talk to Americans, especially non-Biafran himself, like Congressman and so forth, I am honored here to be acting Prime Minister. I hope someday with the non-acting Prime Minister, Simon as well, if he's ever sprung from his Finnish dungeon. But the fact of the matter is, as an American, as someone who obviously has no Nigerian heritage, it's not or my concern to decide who the leader of Biafra is. Any American like me, any white American who cares about human rights, who cares about Biafran liberty, what I would say is Biafra becomes independent. All these disputes will fall by the wayside because you have monitored democratic elections. But anyone start to attack other Biafrans in the presence of European politicians, American politicians, United Nations diplomats, they are essentially doing treason against Biafra. Because what you're doing is giving evidence to your enemies that Biafra isn't serious. Now, let me give you one example. When I came to Washington and began working on foreign policy in 1999, one of the first people I met was a gentleman named Barnes. He was the Washington representative of the Patriotic Union of Kurdistan. Now, the Kurds, I've referenced before, there's 4 different countries, so Biafra's a little bit luckier than this. At the same time, The Kurds in Iraq, in northern Iraq, are divided between two major political parties. One was Jalal Talabani's Patriotic Union. The other was Masoud Barzani's Kurdistan Democratic Party. And between 1994 and 1997, these two Kurdish parties had a civil war. To suggest that anger among the Kurds wasn't high would be an understatement. Hating each other's guts. 2,000 people remain missing to this day from that civil war in northern Iraq between the Kurdish parties. And again, that region is essentially divided. Barham sought out a rule as a representative of one of the two Kurdish parties in Washington. I will talk Kurdish politics to other Kurdish politics when someone else is in the room. Because the only message that Washington needs to hear is Kurdistan must be free. The only message that Washington must hear today is Biafra must be free. Decisions with regard to the leadership are going to be made by Biafrans themselves. But the most important issue for everyone, whether they are legitimate or frankly whether they are illegitimate, is that Biafra must be free. Don't tweet against your the congressional. And if your rivals talk about you, you may feel that it does you a disadvantage. Let me assure you it does not. If Prime Minister, if the acting cabinet are the ones who are speaking softly and achieving things, creating currency, creating the structures of state, ultimately every person, like Chris Smith, like Art, one of the most important staffers on Capitol Hill, they are going to recognize you for what you are. Because only amateurs talk about their rivals. Those who are legitimate, those who are here today, are the people against their cause. And make no mistake, momentum is on your side. So I speak here today, and I'm concluding my remarks right now, by thanking you for your activism, by welcoming you to the halls of ours, where you are free to talk to anyone, and you don't need to risk arrest, because again, your words we're not in Finland. We don't have to talk about the Helsinki standard. The fact of the matter is, I hope to be here when the United Nations General Assembly recognizes Biafra as the 55th or 56th African state. And I have absolutely no doubt.
Please, can we give a hand of applause? He is a true friend of humanity, not just Biafra. He fight for me, he fight for you, he fight for the global. And he is a kind of woman so that we can have a world and a better world, a world that will be great again. Thank you. Biafra Republic government acting right now. And here acting on behalf of His Majesty Simon Ever. As we are freedom, we are making history and we tell our story to the world. And this is the first Biafra congressional briefing. If I tell you, you won't believe. They protest to stop this hearing today. They protest. I have not started protesting. Thank you all for being here today. Thank you. It's an honor to speak today during this historical congressional briefing on Biafra, the first in modern times. I want to thank Michael Rubin, which we are just giving him hand of applause now before, of the American Enterprise Institute for his unwavering support and friendship to the Biafran people. Today, I will provide a broad overview of Biafra issue for all those watching. Nigeria is oil-rich country. Well, Nigeria is Biafran oil. Marco just on his speech, he met is Biafran oil and a continent power in Africa. It is a multi-ethnic, multi-language, and multi-religious country with a population of about over 100 million people. There are very major ethnic groups: the Igbo, the Yoruba, and the Hausa, and 250 other ethnic groups. The Hausa Fulani are predominantly Muslim and live in the northern Sahara of part of Nigeria. The people live in the southwest as split almost evenly Muslim and Christian. The Igbo, along with religious tribes whom refer to as Biafrans, the interface of this submission and how the southeast part is Biafra. And we are no longer Nigeria. We don't identify ourselves as Nigeria. We are Biafra. Of Nigeria, which is combined population of over the Biafran population and over 70 millions. Biafrans are predominantly Christians and traditional worshippers, with constituencies of practicing Judaism. Their land is with human and mineral resources, including vast hydrocarbon. Biafra are very commercially inclined, industrious, and are given scholarly and professionally pursued in addition to their first nature of gifted marginalized. They have an established grassroots democracy order known as system, which is still practiced till this day. Before the advent of colonization, they are very Republican and literate in nation and coexist fully with the others, including Nigeria and Cameroon. Prior to their amalgamation with the rest of Nigeria in 1914, Biafra then, there was no single massacre of Biafrans anywhere in pre-amalgamation in the so-called Nigeria. This is not word. The first start of this program that was levied on Biafrans, particularly the Igbos, among them habiting for decades in northern Nigeria, where Biafrans were, without any Igbo coup, and Igbo to dominate Nigeria. Nigeria's military officers and the police and notable citizens, mostly from the north, planned and executed the Biafrans. Over 3 million Biafrans were murdered between 29th May 1966 and 12th January 1970. And had the Biafrans not resisted unilaterally declaring its independence, the massacre would have been incalculable and more horrendous. There is credible evidence sectional Nigeria provoked the Nigerian war as a cover-up to acquire that they have begun against Biafra. Generally, and was in particular, as far back as 1948 in northern Nigeria, the difference this time was to take it to their homeland, where they had fled and taken refuge under the Hitler-declared Republic of Biafra, born in dire necessity and desperation to serve a genocide. Following from recent declassified U.S. Embassy diplomatic dispute of the era on the program and war that follows in instructive and it states that the North was minded to use the war as a tool to resort its dominance of national affairs. Malan Gagu Dambour, regional editor of Morning Post, told the American consul in Cairo, "No one should kid himself that this is a fight between the East and the rest of the Nigeria. It is a fight between the North and the East." The scale of the carnage was such that had the Roman or International Criminal Court statutes been enacted, Nigeria's entire military leadership and its top civilians enablers would have been prosecuted for genocide and crime against humanity, for orchestrating destruction of in whole or in substantial part because of their ethnicity, and to make it worse, so that oversaw the genocide and their national political successor continue to control Nigeria and to ensure that no ability was exacted for a crime of such shocking scale. And to this, no apology or remorse has emanated from official Nigeria or any of the prime state actors. It is of affair and the post-war political suppression of Biafra, that the insurgency of Biafra agitation in recent times. The modern day independent movements in 1999, with the creation of movement of the actualization of such state of Biafra, 1999 by Chief Owazurike. In 2012, Vietnam began a protest of Chief Owazurike, then created the Indigenous of Biafra, IPOB, in 2012, which became the predominant Biafra independence organization. Post-war agitation for Biafra and support for IPOB accelerated in late 2015 when former President Muhammad Buhari systematically embarked on widespread anti-Igbo policies, coupled with his open toleration of Fulani Islamic terror that was breached of the Igbo land. It was in the face of this that the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, and the idea of Biafra government in exile gained much traction all of us present are in vanguard of pursuing for Biafra. We are born Nigerian Civil War ended in 1970. So in our renewed quest for Biafra, we are not trained by any sense of personal loss of the war, revenge, or but by instead a sense that our have been mistreated and are vigorously in becoming the victim of another genocide. Vast majority of us share the same view, even slightly because of fear of retribution by the Nigerian or other non-state actor in alliance with the government. Amnesty International reports that since the start of the former Buhari administration in 2015, Nigerian insecurity forces have killed more than thousands of Biafrans and wounded more while they hateful protests against it and for self-determination. Amnesty International says many of those pro-Biafra protesters were shot and killed in their sleep, and others while they gathered in churches to pray. Many of the protesters were shot and killed from behind while they tried to escape. Contemporaries country report released by the United States Department confirmed such offenses, particularly the Nigerian government. The issue of IPOB as a terrorist organization in October 2017, which gave a dubious legal cover to forces to resort extrajudicial killing of Biafra by self-determination agitator or members of IPOB. As such, as you are reading this, the other case of Biafra by the Fulani Islamic terrorists is ongoing as we speak. The killing has stopped to date, especially in the northern boundary of Igbo land, such that several innocent villagers were murdered in Ebonyi State in February 2025. Igbo communities to bury their brothers, sisters, fathers, mothers, sons, and daughters almost every month. And after times, the violence is maliciously and forced put to unknown government or faceless Biafran separatists. In the face of all this, and in the perception that rogue elements of the security forces are complicit, the Biafran government in exile emerged as a beacon of hope for Biafrans that have become distrustful of the government. It bears mentioning that when the action for Biafra accelerated in late 2015, the response of Nigerian government was disappointingly non-pragmatic. Instead of acknowledging the burgeoning popularity of the agitation, take bona fide measures, take it through constructive engagement or dialogue. The government went wide with deadly and extrajudicial law enforcement action that backfired by fueling the agitation to levels not seen since the war in 1970. This misguided law enforcement action turned a dangerous corner and when the government went rogue by extraordinary rendition of our leader, Mazi Khan, the Biafran leader from Kenya, in late June 2021. No doubt this is an avoidable overreaction that has caused Nigeria's legal system trade the international legal order. Nigeria embedded the government driving insecurity that have rocked southeast Nigeria, which is Biafra, to this day. In between, Fulani Islamic terrorists have capitalized on the situation to dissuade southeast Nigeria to no end. After Mazin Nnamdi Kanu illegal kidnapping, one of Mazin Nnamdi Kanu protege, Finland-based Biafran activist, Excellency Moses Simon Ekpa, took charge of the Biafra independence movement and created the Biafra Republic government in Brgie, of which he is the Prime Minister, as the next illustration of the Biafra independent movement. The Brgie has garnered the support of the Biafran population and has engaged in high-level dialogue in Washington, D.C. with U.S. government officials. Furthermore, Brgie organized a self-referendum in which more than 950 million Biafrans voted in favor of independence. Brgie held an independence convention in Lahti, Finland, which started November 29 to December 7, 2020, in which Brgie declared the independence of Biafra on December 2, 2024. December 2, 2024, Biafra was declared. The government of Nigeria, according to Mr. Ekpa, orchestrated 5 assassination attempts against his life. After allegedly assassinating Mr. Ekpa, the government of Nigeria successfully pressured the government of Finland to arrest Mr. Ekpa in November 2024 on political motivated charges. The government of Finland then issued an indictment against Mr. Ekpa, as well as subsequent conviction, which demonstrates the political nature of the persecution at the instigation of government of Nigeria. The indictment by Finland, issued in May of 2025, alleged that Mr. Ekpa participated and supported terrorist organization, even though pro-Biafra organizations are not designated as terrorist group in Finland or anywhere in the European Union. In fact, the only country in the world pro-Biafra organization, in fact, the only country in the world where pro-Biafra organization is in Nigeria. For the government of Finland to accept that the Finnish citizens holding political position regarding internal policy within Nigeria is somehow a criminal offense in Finland, nonsensical and demonstrate that Finland is engaged in a political motivated. Nigeria conduct toward both Mazin Nnamdi Kanu and Simon Ekpa demonstrates transnational repression. At the moment, the issue of Biafra, the insecurity in southeast Nigeria, which is Biafra land, and all the unpleasant aftermath cannot be resolved, while the federal government of Nigeria persists in detention of Mazin Kanu, while Finland persists in detention of Mazin Simon Ekpa, and Biafrans continue to be marginalized. On this basis of foregoing, we must respectfully suggest the following: the U.S. government. 1. We urge the United States government to invoke the Global Human Rights Accountability Act, Summit 5 of Title S 11 of 114-28 to identify and impose travel and financial restrictions on all of the federal government of Nigeria and any Nigerian non-actor implicating the killing of Biafrans, area in southeast Nigeria, which is Biafra land. We urge the United States government, including through targeted sanction and or tariff, to pressure the government of Nigeria to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and allow him a safe passage out of Nigeria. 3. We urge the United States government to pressure the government of Finland regarding its politically motivated trial and conviction against pro-Biafra activist Simon Ekpa. 4. We urge the United States government to offer bilateral assistance and visa to officials of the government of Nigeria if it continues to engage in transnational against pro-Biafra activists, and if Simon Ekpa and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu continue to be held in detention. Consequently, Biafra troops Brgie are ready to engage with the international community, including the United States of America government, especially in seeking to establish a newly independent Biafran state. The Brigade is willing to engage in deal-making with U.S. government and come to economic defense security agreement with the United States. Biafrans represented by Brgie are willing to negotiate with the U.S. in reciprocity and in anticipation for interest and expectation of the U.S. event in Sub-Saharan Africa have created a compelling need for the United States of America to get involved in the GOVT. There is no better opportunity than that presented by the Biafra. For example, Biafra can be an ideal place for U.S. military base, as well as seaport. Biafra can also be host to our installations. Biafra can be a close ally of the United States and purveyor of Western interests in the region, as well as a bulwark against Islamic terrorists and extremists. This is important now more than ever, given the loss of key U.S. military bases in Sahel countries, as well as the Nigerian government ever coalitions with United States adversaries. A United States designated Islamic terrorist organization. Nigeria's persecution of Christians continue to worsen and further adds to the case of united homeland for Nigeria. Christian population, just as U.S. of Somalia, present great benefit to U.S. strategic interest in East Africa. Similarly, Biafra can present opportunities along similar lines for the U.S. in West Africa. We hope today's historical briefing will provide for further diplomatic engagement. And before I say thank you, we believe that we have sent our message. We are damn serious for our freedom. We'll continue fighting. Our freedom is our right. No one else can do it better for us than us. And we are sending a message to the world, especially the United States of America. We appreciate the opportunity and the privilege they have given us to voice out so that they can do what is right. We believe they are listening. We believe very soon we'll be having more diplomatic engagement with the United States of America of the free world. Thank you. All right, we're going to be having some question answer, and have some witness that we question about the current situation, what is happening in Biafra land, if it is suitable for them, if it is done, do they deserve to live better than what is happening here today? We are glad this is the beginning of our hearing in Washington, D.C. We believe that the U.S. government, they are watching, they are listening, they are following, even if the members of the Congress, the ones that are not here, they are watching, so they know what we are doing and what is going on. Are we comfortable? Yeah.
Especially me, Biafrans, yourself, myself, witnesses, and over 50 people who gave the Brgie government their vote for the self-referendum conducted in Finland and ratified in Finland by over 517 hours. So I appreciate each and every one of you who are here, and we thank the United States Congress for giving us this opportunity, for calling us to our voice at this time. It is of utmost importance that the Biafran people in general speak now to stop the killing, to help the world, to help those who cannot speak for themselves, the entirety of the people who live in the geographical location known as Nigeria, regain their freedom. The freedom that we seek today is not just for the Biafran people, but for over 230 million people who exist in a place where they are all in a cave. Most of the people who exist there don't know themselves no more, cannot, for some reason, stand up and defend themselves. Of course, we know fear is part of terrorism. With me here, friends, who are witnesses to the ongoing genocide in my land, Biafra. The ongoing genocide is a continuous 70, as we all have heard the Prime Minister of Brgie speak to us who are Biafra and to the rest of the world who are listening. So I would like to ask my brothers a few questions so that in their own words can explain to the rest of the world, those who are watching, and to the congressmen and women who have given us this opportunity, who I'm sure would hear everything that we are saying here today, either today or tomorrow or in the nearest future. And whatever we say here will help them make decisions quick and act fast to save Biafra, to save lives of women, children, and even unborn. Because in our case, we lose children in the mother's wombs due to Nigerian terrorism. Now, first of all, I would like to call on who is a witness, Love Akobondo. I would like to ask you, Love Akobondo, how would you describe the persecution and marginalization of Biafrans from your own personal observation and experience? What are the root causes of this genocide?
Good afternoon. Thank you for the Brgie government. Thank you, the acting Prime Minister and your staff. And I also thank the Congress, American Congress, for giving us this opportunity. I'm going to say what I received as information from those who witnessed those incidents, because I wasn't there at the time. From there, that will lead into what is happening and still happening, unless we put a stop to it. You see, the marginalization has a long-standing history, stemming from the so-called colonization. From the time those people showed up in the shores of Biafra, the back of Biafra, there hasn't been peace. Each time they bring up a situation that is not acceptable to our people, the Biafrans, we object because we already had democracy before. We were living in organized society in every ramification before the law. So when they showed up and want to alter who we are, us, to benefit them, we said no. Instead of dialoguing with us, they come up with aggression. This has been going on through the Enumate wars after the fall of our kingdom. Our people grouped, defending themselves, defending their land, defending their culture, defending who they as a people. They were met with killing, because that's the only thing to understand. They don't understand dialogue. From there, it moved to taxation that was totally unacceptable, and our great-grandmothers came up to protest, simple protest. They did not kill anybody, they didn't try anything. They were just protesting because of the useless people. It is not today we begin to have a flavor in our society. A man called, and I'm going to call him by name, and I wish his generation will get to hear it so they can be ashamed of their grandfather. Chief Okuk from Oloko was the warrant chief who delivered that message of taxation. And after they had finished our fathers, they came up with our mothers. And I said, no. What did they do? They turned out, killed some of them. To glorify their action, they termed the Women riot, which is a false thing. From there, when they discovered coal in Enugu, again, to their interest, poor working condition, our fathers protested for a better wages, a better working condition. What did they get? Bullets. They massacred the men, the coal mining massacre. Each step of the way is aggression, no discussion. The good thing is, we are not, you can just walk over. It's not going to happen. It's not yesterday, it's not today, it's not going to be all the tomorrows to come. Because we are Biafrans. No two ways of take it or drop it. We're going to fight to the last man standing. Now, it did not stop there. It continues. The same marginalization, the same wickedness in all form and shape. Live fast forward to the so-called flag independence. What did we get? The 1966 pogrom. I have a sister-in-law to 1966 program. Move forward, 97, the so-called genocidal war, which the war refused to acknowledge. The thing sweeping it under the carpet is going to make a difference. It's going to escalate, and it's escalating. We have no apologies to anybody. Biafra must. Okay?
Thank you so much, Sister Love. You heard it all. Now, I will ask another question to another sister of mine, Ms. Nonye Chima, sorry. We know how the U.S. government categorizes certain countries sponsors of terror. How do you, Nigeria, given their killing of Biafrans, and should the U.S. government designate Nigeria as a state sponsor of terror?
Thank you very much for that question. First of all, I just want to thank Honorables Gman and Elias Terasulis and the U.S. government for giving us the opportunity to inform the world of what has been going on in Ghana for decades. So for the question, these are some of the states government should designate Nigeria as a terror organization. Between 2015 to 2016, Amnesty International reported that security forces killed over 1,500 IPOB protesters in cold blood. Remember, they didn't have any weapons. They were just exercising their rights as citizens. And in 2017, there was what they called Operation Python Dam, which targeted the southeast Biafrans, with soldiers invading communities, shooting civilians, and committing extrajudicial killings to about 28 young men and women in our leader, Mazinam Dekano's house. Thirdly, 2023, Amnesty also documented over 1844 killings in Biafra land. Lawful executions, torture, and one, whether these killings or these killers have been apprehended and brought to justice, and the answer is no. No one has been held for these killings. In fact, when locals apprehend killers, up to today, continue, and the painful thing is the fact that Biafrans are killed simply because we are Christians, simply because of Biafra land, and because they want to Islamize us by force, which we are resisting. So I call on the global community to pay attention to what's going on in Biafra land and elsewhere, where there is a genocide going on. Thank you all.
So much. That was wonderful. That's what we expect from the Biafran always carrying in their heart. The fact that our people are dying every day. Now, I will ask my brother, Emmanuel, how would you describe the hatred of Biafrans, or if within the Nigerian, by the political establishment, which has traditionally been controlled controlled by the Muslim North. Would you say this is an important part of why there is support for the Biafran independence movement?
Yeah, thank you all. Biafran hatred of political establishment, that goes deeper. Some of us came into this world and we live with this hatred, and we keep asking ourselves, why? Why us? What have we done? We get after everything we have gone through. The hatred runs in the Nigerian establishment, in their blood, both the political establishment and people from other parts of the country. We see this hatred every day. We have this economic jihad that has been going on. Our businesses are being born in Lagos, in the north. We are not allowed to scale when it comes to political positions of the country. And now we are seeking for Biafra. We want to be on our own so that we can be able to live in peace without facing this hatred again. The Fulani Caliphate are the ones controlling Nigeria, and with this economic, they have continued to display this economic jihad on Biafra out in every aspect of life, and we are tired of it. And we say this is why over 80 million, there are over 50 million Biafrans voted for the Biafra separate, because they themselves are tired of the hatred. Every one of us can see it, even the young ones. And that is why there is maximum support for Biafra, so that we have our own independent state and live in accordance with our own values. So that's what I will say about that. Thank you.
For those among who lived during the first Civil War, it's called the Civil War. No, it's a genocide against the Biafran people, 1967 to 1970. Please describe your experience. I know you might not know that people who have told you stories. I see you're very much younger than 1967. So describe your experience and how you would compare the Biafran independence movement in the 1960s compared to now, and what do you wish the United States government to do regarding the issue of Biafra?
Now, thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I want to thank the U.S. Congress for the opportunity that we have today to be at the Capitol for this almost hearing regarding Biafra. Now, some of us were not born in the war, but we have heard, we have read about all the atrocities that happened against Biafrans and against the Negroes during the war. We saw that Biafra was destroyed by the Nigerian state in collusion with its Western allies and the Soviets. They destroyed schools, they destroyed the infrastructure. And while we were growing up, every part of Nigeria designated as educational district. And these are places where there were no bombs, where there was no destruction. But in Biafra land, in the Igbo land in particular, Igbos were never designated as agents. And we know what happened during the Civil War. One of the things that happened was to blockade Biafra land, and led to the death of over 3 million people and the starvation of over 1 million children. I'm sure that the world saw some of those pictures, gory pictures of children because of the starvation. And that led to
America. An American student from Colombia to set himself ablaze in front of the United Nations of Europe. People like Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple, saw what happened in Biafra and swore not his food inside the church. And he said, how can the world open their eyes and saw these monuments of so-called fellow Christians and never did them because of oil and hatred and death, to be literal. We saw all that. The Nigerian state, as part of the Nigerian Biafrans now, and they will take. They made sure that after that every Igbo person or Biafran received only £20 to start life from the beginning. And the Igbos and were the richest in that country at that time. It was designed according to one of Nigeria's recent presidents, it was designed to make Biafrans poor for over 200 years and become subservient to other ethnic groups. At the end of the day, today, Biafrans are only successful, but they have reason to say that the only thing that will make us safe to actualize our economic and political potential and destiny is the creation of an independent state of Biafra, or the restoration of it, so that we can live in peace with our neighbors, so that we can be allies to the West and to our global community, so that we can harness our intellectual resources, our natural resources. We can harness it to the benefit of not only our own people, but to the world at large. That is what Biafra seek. And we want the United States as the leaders of the free world to stand up and begin to do what is right for the Biafran people. Begin to do what is right. Because that's something that they're looking for. Something that they take, the Nigeria gives them. Those oil and gas comes from Biafra land. We negotiate. We can reach a deal with any country, America in particular, so that we can have our independence, a place we can feel safe, and to live in freedom. Thank you very much.
My mother's in the Red Cross during the war, and my father was equally a soldier during that war. So, just like himself, and like many of us here, have stories of what happened and why we need to be free. It's not just because of the resources, but for our children to be able to see tomorrow. Now, I want to call on my brother, our brother, Mazikelo Israel. Mazikelo, please. As we are in the capital speaking to the United States Congress and to everyone who cares to listen from people, I would like to ask, what would you recommend, or what would be your recommendation to the United States government to hold Nigeria accountable and to assist Biafra?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable. First of all, let me thank our good friends, Elias, and of course, Honorable Dr. Michael Rubin, who spoke earlier on, and Ogen Kerry, who has been leading this struggle since our leaders have been incarcerated. I'm talking about Simon Emba, Nnamdi Kanu. And I want to thank the U.S. Congress for allowing us this opportunity. Again, they are demonstrating that leader of the free world is against other nations where they don't want to talk about this. As our Honorable Michael Rubin has said, here you are free to talk and nobody will arrest you. And so we are here requesting that U.S. government to come and stop the killings that is going on in Nigeria. We are talking about the genocide that happened in 1966 to 1970. Right now, that was happened mainly in Southeast. Right now, the entire Nigerian state, it rivals what happened during the Civil War. And so we are pleading with the U.S. Congress to come to quickly, not to delay, by doing these following things: to officially recognize the Biafran genocide of 1966 to 1970, which has continued up to today. As our Honorable Minister said, Michael Rubin said, those who committed it have not been charged. Instead, they seem to have been congratulated by lifting them to be the presidents of that place. This has empowered them to continue with the genocide. So we are pleading with the U.S. government to live up to their moral standards as the free world leader, to come immediately to this aid of Biafrans. We are also pleading with the U.S. government to condemn immediately, that we say, like, condemn immediately the abuses that is going on there, which is quite obvious. It's not hidden. You have terrorists that are being recognized, giving a peace deal, while those that are speaking the truth to save the country from the killings that is going on are being incarcerated, like Mazen and the Kano and Simon. They agreed on a plea deal with terrorists, a peace deal, and they are walking free. We are asking the U.S. government to invoke the Global Magnitsky Act, identify all those criminals, the Canadian political organizations in Nigeria as terrorist organizations. We're asking the U.S. government to go further, identify the individuals themselves, and put heavy sanctions on them. That is what you have to further what we are asking the U.S. government to demand with immediate effect to the release of Nnamdi Kanu, a man that has been even acquitted in some of the courts in that Federal Republic of Nigeria. Several courts have discharged and acquitted him, and in fact, the government compensated him. Outside UN have already also requested that he be released immediately. Kenyan government has come out openly to say that he was extraordinarily rendition. He was kidnapped from Kenya. That he should be released, and on no basis should he be tried for anything because of the way illegal and the abuses. Nnamdi Kanu is still in prison. Even recently, he asked for him to be allowed in the hospital to go for a hospital treatment, and they rejected it. They rejected that he would not go to the hospital. So we're asking the U.S. Congress to act immediately We need urgent help. We also asked the U.S. Congress to pressure Finland to release Simon Eber. He was doing nothing other than he was worried seeing the decimation of his people. Okay? But that's the only thing we are asking, to pressure Finland government to release Simon Eber. Finally, the U.S. Congress to recognize the referendum that was conducted. 50 million Biafrans voted. If that is not acceptable, then up to help us organize a UN acceptable referendum for Biafrans. To show that, demonstrate that Biafrans are really in need to be free. And the freedom we're asking for Biafrans is not going to for Biafrans, because it's free the ordinary people of that country called Nigeria from all the killings that are going on, which is only going to escalate as the 2027 elections continue. These are what we are requesting. Thank you very much.
Just to add one single thing to what he said, something that's very dear to me. I really wish that the United States Congress and the United States government would help us pressure. I would like for the genocide and life of over 5 million of my people to be recognized. If today we speak about the Holocaust, there is no reason why we shouldn't speak about the death of over 5 Biafrans. Thank you very much.
For the hearing of Biafra people. This place by Congress, whether it's one or two is here, is the United American Congress. And they are watching, they are following this event. So we thank you all. This is just the beginning. This is our heroes, and we appreciate everything they have done. bring them. Yes. We follow the way.
Yes, sir.
Biafra is and will come back again. We will still revisit the capital and we'll keep pushing and we believe the United States of America will hear our voice. Thank you all. And God bless
Dear friends, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Depending on your location, your time, this is not a live program. This is to replay what happened in the 20th of September congressional briefing in Washington, D.C. as part of the BRGIE engagement and achievement of this government under the leadership of our acting Prime Minister, His Excellency Ogechukwu Nkere. You all have listened, you all have witnessed the great achievements of this administration, of this Biafran Republic government in exile, under of our acting Prime Minister Ogechukwu Nkere. The climax of this achievement was the 20th of September congressional briefing, where Biafrans from life converged in Washington, D.C., United States of America, to educate the world, to bring to the notice of the international community the plight, the condition, the situation of the Biafran people under the terrorist government of Nigeria. BRGIE is the Biafran Republic government in exile that is in charge of the liberation and recognition, creating awareness of the Biafran nation. BRGIE has stood the test of time. BRGIE has spoken for the Biafran people. BRGIE is the government that is recognized by the State Department of America to speak for the freedom of the Biafran people. Hence, this congressional briefing that happened in Washington, D.C. this year, 20th of September 2025. That is the climax of the achievement of the engagement PM in Washington, D.C. So this morning, we are bringing to you live most of the achievements from the engagement of the Biafran Republic government in exile. And I want to encourage you to visit the website of BRGIE, and you can see a lot of achievements taking place in our government. The APM, Honorable Gachukunkere, the cabinet members are not sleeping. Neither is the Biafran Defense Forces. They are also not sleeping. They are working pari passu. They are working hand in hand to make sure that Biafra is actualized in this our dispensation by this generation. What gave birth to BRGIE? Taking you back to 2012, when our leader Mazen Nnamdi Kanu started the awareness creation for the independent state of Biafra. The Nigerian government, instead of negotiating with the Biafran people who are asking for self-determination, the Nigerian government came very, very strong. Protesters. It will also be recalled that in 1999, when Wazirike started the movement for the action of Biafra, the Nigerian government still, instead of them to negotiate, instead of them to call to table the agitators, the Nigerian government used lethal force against the MASOC agitators. These have continued to go on and on since 1999 until Wazirike was arrested in the Nigerian state. Wazirike was threatened and forced into abandoning the Biafran cause and working in the Nigerian state. So in 2012, Mazano, who was also from Masop, now established BOB. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu established the indigenous people of Biafra while he was far away in the he started another round of awareness creation for our people to actually understand we need to be free as a people because of the marginalization, because of the intimidations, because of the harassment that we go through on a daily basis in that evil contraption called Nigeria. And having the positive impact and the good result, and how Biafrans embrace the gospel for self-determination, the Nigerian government planned and arrested Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in 2015. And after 2 years, Nigerian government were forced, it was the activities of the Niger Delta Avengers that gave the Nigerian government ultimatum to release Nnamdi Kanu. So they were forced to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in 2017. In the same 2017, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu continued his mission of Biafra awareness creation. And Nigerian government also started harassing people with lethal force, started arresting Biafrans who were asking for their freedom. And around September, the Nigerian government invaded the family house of our leader in Afaruku Ibegu and killed a lot of Biafrans whose their only crime is asking for the freedom of their people. They came for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, but unfortunately, Nnamdi Kanu was whisked away by securities, by the Biafran defenders, the Eastern Security Network, the men, the volunteer army that were protecting our leader. After years of absence, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu reappeared in Israel. Between 2000 and 2019, Nnamdi Kanu made the world to understand that the Nigerian government came to his house to eliminate him. Why the narrative they were sending in Nigeria was that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu jumped bail. So what things were happening? Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was busy visiting countries, creating awareness for Biafra, teaching Biafrans in diaspora in order to educate them on the need to join and support their freedom. Because without Biafra, Biafrans can never be free. As a people, we have seen the harassment that we go through on a daily basis in Nigeria. We have seen the invasions of our communities. We have seen corruption and criminality in high places in Biafra land. We have seen the destruction of our properties. We have seen the killings of our women and children. So all these things, they are all documented evidence against the Nigerian terrorist state. So our people have died in the hands of Nigeria. So while Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was in that preaching for our people to join force and support the liberation and the freedom of their people, the Nigerian government were also planning how to eliminate Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And in 2021, when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu traveled to Kenya on a very important mission, the Nigerian government planned with some security agencies in Kenya, bribed them, and they kidnapped Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in Kenya. So before the kidnap of our leader in Kenya, our leader have already made a broadcast about meeting and joining force with Mazi Simon Ekpa, who at that time was the Prime Minister of the Biafran Republic government in exile. Before that time, in 2003, Simon Ekpa was just a disciple of our leader. Our leader encouraged Biafrans to support Simon Ekpa in the face and in the quest for the nation for Biafran restoration. So when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped, Mazi Simon Ekpa and the cabinet of Brgie reactivated, and the members who were supporting the autopilot at that time reactivated the Biafran Republic government in exile, and he eventually was elected to be the Prime Minister. So while he was the Prime Minister, our minister did a lot of homework in making sure that all the necessary documentations, all the necessary things that need to be done for Biafran to be recognized, for BRGIE to be accepted worldwide, was done. He notified in the world about the first convention, Biafra Self-Convention, that was held in Helsinki, Finland in 2023. In that convention, a lot of things happened, including the unveiling and the launching of the Biafran Charter, and as well as the unveiling of the Biafran Army, the Biafran Defense Forces. In 2023, every documentation of solidifying the government of Biafra was made possible by our Prime Minister, Mazi Simon Ekpa. And within that period, a lot of emissaries were sent to America, to Washington, D.C. A lot of letters were written to a lot of countries all over the world, intimating them, informing them about the activities of the Biafran in exile. Even copies of charters was even sent to them, government of the world, for them to understand the need for them to embrace and accept the new country that is now being ruled from exile, BRGIE. And after the convention proper, the Biafrans were looking up for a better governmental structure of BRGIE that is going to work with the rest of the government all around the world in order to create awareness for the injustices that is happening in Nigeria against the Biafran people, and also to proffer solutions for the world. As a matter of fact, the BRGIE government furnished the international community, countries of the world, with documented evidence proving facts and figures about the atrocities that the Nigerian government have committed in Biafran territory. And that is what gave rise for the demand of a free Biafra nation. As a result of what Nigerian government is now pursuing all over Nigeria in order to Islamize Africa. Because once they succeeded in Islamizing Nigeria, they will succeed in Islamizing the whole of Africa. So as a result, it is the only Biafran people that stood against the total Islamization of Nigeria. So since then, Federal Republic government in exile have been meeting policymakers So the world we are meant to understand the atrocities of the Nigerian state against the Biafran people. And our acting Prime Minister Ogechukwu Nkere, after our Prime Minister on the 18th of November 2024 was arrested and called for questioning. Since that time, the Biafran Republic government in exile have not rested on their oars. They have continued to do all that is needed to do to meet all that we need to meet, to cut all that need to be consulted in order to keep them abreast of what has happened or what is happening in Biafran territories. The atrocities of the government against our people in our land, and as well as the generality of the Nigerian people. As you can see on the screen, these are some of the meetings that our APM, His Excellency Honorable Ogechukwu, have or had with some policymakers in the United States of America. It will also be recalled that immediately after the convention in 2024, a group of individuals who were part of the government at the initial stage, they tried to destroy the government of Biafra. This group was led by the former COS to the Prime Minister, Mazi Simon Ekpanjoko, called Ngozi Orabueze. Ngozi Orabueze, being a member of the Nigerian political party, but was hiding in BRGIE while working for the Nigerian state. She saw an opportunity and she felt that she can destroy the government of Biafra. So immediately after the convention, she decided that that was the time to act. That was the time to execute agreement that she had with the Nigerian terrorist state against the freedom of the Biafran people. As a result, a lot of people, a lot of Biafrans, uninformed Biafrans, and as well a lot of those who were contracted by Nigeria at the same time, who were in the government with her, they break away from BRGIE and formed their own BRGIE de facto and started to fight against the original BRGIE under the Prime Minister Simon Joko. But even as they struck, and 97% of the cabinet then were affiliated with Nigeria and Ngozi Orebweze, they could not bring BRGIE down. The gatekeepers of Biafran Republic government in exile, whom our Prime Minister gave every authority to make sure that certain areas, certain positions in BRGIE are kept secret and are no-go areas, as their work are confidential and very key to the continued existence of BRGIE, were not touched. So, but because Ngozi Orebweze wanted to go in deep into the Biafran Republic government in exile, she wanted to know confidential information about the finance. She wanted to have confidential information about the defense. These are the areas that are no-go areas. The minister asked the gatekeepers to protect. So while she demanded for access and the access was denied her, she started propaganda against Biafran government and its personnel. And there was a very, very fierce battle that was fought by those whom Chukwu Okike Abiama chose to lead BRGIE movement at this time. Eventually, Ngozi and her deceptive psychiatric children, they could not see it, and they were dropped, they were trashed, they were eventually dropped in the dustbin of history. And even at that, there were remnants of Ngozi who later in this 2025, by March or thereafter, also, when they saw that Ngozi is being taken to court, that there was a litigation against Ngozi, they were not happy because they were a fallout from the Ngozi sabotage, but they were hiding and pretending as if they were against Ngozi Orebweze. So they wanted to complete what Ngozi could not accomplish. So, but eventually, when they were discovered later on, the Maduabos, the Joy Irobis of this world, the Rubin Nadis of this world, the Obiageli Obodo of this world, the Chiamaka Ajeres of this world, the Joy Irobis of this world, the Brystons of this world, all of them tried to deceive Biafrans once again try to destroy our government once again. But eventually, they were sued. They were all destroyed and shamed by the gatekeepers. And today, they are nowhere to be found. Today, they are very much irrelevant. For you to understand that BRGIE is God's project. BRGIE has fought so many wars. BRGIE have been able to stand the test of time. And there is nothing any Sabo, either you are coming from the Fulani enclave or you are coming from the intellectuals or sophisticated morons of this world, there is nothing, absolutely nothing that you can say or write that is going to deter or discourage Umuchukwu Okike from standing their gidigbam and making sure that the enemies of Biafra are destroyed one after the other. So when you see the screen, when you look at the screen, you can see a lot of pictures. Let me even go to the website. I will bring you to the website. You can see a lot of pictures. You can see the pictures that were taken by the Biafran acting Prime Minister, His Excellency Honorable Ogechukwu Nkere. Yeah, you can see. I'm going to take you through. You see, these pictures, you can see, these are the acts of the Biafran Republic government in exile. You can see their meetings. This is the congressional briefing that was held on September. In the right-hand corner, you can see our APM, His Excellency Honorable Ogechukwu Nkere, meeting Senator Ted Cruz. And in this meeting, before these photos, because you don't expect to see videos, these senators, these American legislators may not like the video to be online. So they just approve the taking of pictures. But behind these pictures, a lot of things happen behind the scene. So that is why you can see Ted Cruz moving with our APM. So, and after, if you look at this daily post, you see Biafra acting Prime Minister providing explosive testimony. Okay? This is one of the testimonies that our APM provided back then in July of this year against the terrorist Nigerian state and against the detention of our leader, as well as that of the Prime Minister, Mazi Simon Ekwenjoko. So these are most of the engagement that he had. You can see here as well when the APM met one of the American congressmen who is working directly with President Trump in order for them to stop the arms sales, for them to stop any arms sales to the Nigerian terrorist state. So our APM met Congressman Brian Mast. Brian Mast is the chairman of the House Armed Services Committee. Okay. He also met Congresswoman LaMonica. LaMonica is from New Jersey. Is a Democrat. And this, he also met Ambassador Tibor Nagy, a long-time senior State Department official and a diplomat with extensive postings in Africa. So these are some of the engagement that our APM had within a very short period of time. That what you see today happening, that the Nigerian government are being held accountable for their atrocities, what you're supposed to understand. Okay? So all these things that you saw that is happening is as a result of what our APM, the engagement that he has had in Washington, D.C. That is as a result of that engagement, that is why the world is speaking. You can see Biafran first ever historic Biafran briefing. Okay? You can see it. First ever historic Biafran US congressional briefing. It has never happened in the history of Biafra. It has never happened in the history of Biafra that Biafra was given an opportunity to come to Washington, D.C. about Biafra. So it has never happened. First time that the world is now focused on Biafra and what is happening in Nigeria. Who made it possible? It is the Biafran Republic government in exile that is aptly led by our APM, His Excellency Honorable Ogechukwu Nkere. So this is, see most of the engagement. You can see the engagement. These are not photoshops. If you say it's Photoshop, then you can go and Photoshop and show us your own Photoshop. We will be very much appreciative to see your own Photoshop. You can see him meeting at Dan Shift. You see him, you have met State Cruz several occasions. These are most of the pictorial engagement that our acting Prime Minister have had with congressmen and women who are policymakers in the United States of America. And this is a great giant stride, an achievement on the Biafran cause. So these are pictorial evidences during these last 3 months, you see, and the years that have gone by between 2023 to date. This is what the APM has been engaged, including meeting Mike Johnson, Mabio, and other senators who are even in Biafran government. Look at Mike Johnson. See this man here is the Speaker of the American, is a Speaker in House of Representatives. See it. This is Mike Johnson, the Speaker. Okay? So this is the achievement of the Biafran Republic government in exile under the acting Prime Minister Ogechukwu Nkere. So these are some of the engagement that you have had in Washington, D.C., all for the benefit of the Biafran people, for the restoration of the independent state of Biafra. So my wonderful people and lovers of freedom, I want you to understand that BRGI is doing enough, have done so much, even in this short period of time, to make sure that the issue of Biafra is being preached all over the world. More importantly, at this, that the American government are now beaming their torchlight on Nigeria. You can see the senators from America are now speaking. They are now asking that Nigeria should be held accountable for their atrocities against mankind, against Nigerians, and by extension, against the Biafran people who made it possible, if not Biafran Republic government in exile, who was at the forefront, if not our APM, Honorable Ogechukwu Kere, who were those involved in all these meetings, who were those who made these meetings to be possible, our attorney, Amanda Biri, and our lobbyist, Maazi Elias Jarasoris. So it is very important that Biafrans all over the world who are skeptical or who don't actually understand what has been happening or what has happened so far, when they watch this video, they can be able to, educate themselves about what BRGIE have done in the face of our freedom. The stage that we are, the accomplishment of Ogechukwu Nkere and Biafran Republic government in exile. And that is why when we call you to join us in the fundraisings, you should understand that the money that you are raising, the BRGIE government and our APM, that money is being used judiciously, more importantly, for Biafran recognition all over the world. So I thank you so much. I want to put a link in case if you want to join me on the studio and make your contribution, because this is just a brief of the achievement of Biafran Republic government in exile. This is the in exile. In the homeland as well, you understand we have the de facto government in the homeland. This de facto government in the homeland, they are in charge of the liberation of Biafra land. As a matter of fact, one of the greatest achievements of the de facto government in the homeland, who are working in pari passu with the Biafran Republic government in exile, is that our Biafran territory has not been overrun and will never be overrun by the terrorist Nigerian state. It's not going to happen because the de facto government in the homeland is in capable hands under the command of the Triple General Igwebutuzo and under the chairmanship of the Biafran Defense Council Chief, the Success, Mazi Success. They are in charge of the defense of Biafra land. Biafra land is protected, land is secure, Biafra land is safe, with pockets of terrorism from the Nigerian terrorist state. So that is why we encourage those of you in the homeland to support the de facto government by donating for your liberation. Fund your liberation. Let me remind each and every one of you in the homeland that the freedom that you crave, freedom is in your hands. It is our responsibility to fight for our freedom. Nigeria cannot wake up and say, you people should go and be free. No. America cannot just come and say, okay, Nigeria and Biafra separate. No. You have to demonstrate that you are ready to be free. You have to engage the Nigerian government in a very fierce battle. That fierce battle is the reason why the Biafran Defense Forces were created. Because once the world see that you are fighting, the world will now come for separation and peace. But if you are not fighting, you think that the Nigerian government or the world will come and give you freedom. I want you to understand biblically what it says, that the kingdom of God suffereth violence, and it is only the violent that can take it by force. In other words, your freedom, our freedom is in our hands, and we must fight it from neighborhood to neighborhood, from rooftops to rooftops, from communities to communities, from counties to counties, from kindred to kindred, from state to state. That is how we are going to fight this freedom. And we already have men and women who have volunteered to defend our land. They are called the Biafran Liberation Army, the Biafran Defense Forces, the Black Marines, and the Resistance Fighters. The last count, we have over 100,000 men and women under arms who are to protect the 40 states of Biafran territory, so that the harassment, the intimidations will stop in our land. And these men and women cannot do much if you don't support them, if you don't encourage them, if you don't finance their activities. How are they going to protect you? If you don't finance their activities, how are they going to protect your women and children or protect your community? Very, very important. So that is the more reason why I want each and every one of you to come on board and support the Biafran Defense Forces and support the freedom of our people. Pay your Biafran Defense Funds. Locate your counties, locate your communities, locate your state, and pay your BLT. These men, they are feeding. These men are kitted. These men need to have all the necessary arms and ammunition in order to make sure that the Biafran land, women and children are protected. And these are capital intensive. So any money that is going directly to the Biafran Defense Forces Fund. I want you to know that. Without which they cannot do anything. We also encourage you to, embrace or to join the IOU Special Loan Project. In this way, you loan the government your money and you get 100% interest rate when Biafra is fully restored. This project is for Biafrans and non-Biafrans as well. Once you pay this money, once you loan this money, the government will give you receipt. The government will give you certificate of proof of payment. This certificate lasts as long as you are alive. Your children, even when you are not around, your children can use it and claim the incentive that is going to accrue because of your support to the Biafran cause. So it's for Biafrans and non-Biafrans as well. So you have an opportunity of supporting the freedom of your people. Very, very, very important. So the Biafran Republic government in exile have done absolutely well. And like our Prime Minister Mazen Nandekano said, you can never destroy Biafra because it is God's ordained project. And the men and women who were chosen before they were born to fight for this freedom, they are now in this government. And there is nothing anybody can do to stop Biafra from coming. We also appreciate our information minister, the Okokondem of our time, Mazi Sonia Akbarawa, for putting up a very formidable media team that is so vast in making sure that the information that are coming out from Biafran territory are authentic, and making sure that the exposition of the Nigerian state is always there on social media for the world to see the atrocities that the Nigerian government are committing all over Nigeria as well as in Biafran territory. So I salute each and every one of you. Thank you for being part of this program. And I want to put the link so that you can make your contribution. You can make your contribution. You can make your contribution as we go forward. If you contribute, you can call the line on the screen and make your contribution. Or you join us on the studio and contribute as well. Very, very, very important. So I want you to understand that the BRGIE have done marvelously well. They have done marvelously well for Biafra Restoration Project. Must be applauded. Our APM must be applauded for what he has done.
Nigeria don't enter one chance, I swear, now go with the go so. Herdsmen they free, they for them busy, they campaign again. After they failed all the promises they made, all them the president.
Join us on the studio and make your contribution. Join us in the studio and make your contribution. My sister, William, Eloi, William, don't ignore those fools. They are Ngozi and Emma attack dogs. They are envious of our giant achievements. So they have to be here to display their stupidity. So don't respond to fools. Allow them to display their stupidity while we are dancing to our freedom.
Nigeria don't enter one chance, I swear, now go with the go so. Herdsmen they kill us every day, for them busy, they campaign again. After they failed all the promises they made, the president.
We know the look face. We are here.
Mornings up, they rise up, we can take back up. Time on it, good start to follow, from we go far. We are fast, no go tire, together we stay strong. With love and support, we sing this unity song. Simon, we did you, Prime Minister, now you be. You're probably the time you falling like you give me see. Feet to get moved to the rhythm, hearts to beat for our land. Hope they rise like the ocean. With Simon we dey stand, future bright like morning, Biafra shine like gold. Together we go make this story with a hope. Simon we dey hail you, Prime Minister now you be. Biafra we dey thank you, falling like you can see. Future bright like morning, Biafra shine like gold. Together we go make up this story we hold. We dey Biafra, marching hand in hand, so true. Promise to spread your anthem, use of your music we pursue. Thank you, Biafra. History will tell our tale. Hero of our dreams. Your courage will never fail. Together we'll find our side. To you we look for hope. In the darkest night we find strength in your words we cope. From your brave our leader. To you we look for hope. In the darkest night we find strength in your words we cope. Strong and brave our leader. Future bright we see. Leading us to freedom. Unchained will be. Thank you, Biafra. History will tell our tale. Hero of our dreams. Your courage will never fail. Strong and brave our leader, future bright we see, leading us to freedom, unchained will be. Thank you.
If you feel that you know it or you have questions to ask, like these fools that are here, Gabriel and Mwoba, I know they are Fulani, they are not Biafrans. If you feel you have the balls, pick up this challenge, join me on the studio and fool yourself as well. Join us on the studio and let us have a debate of what nonsense you are talking about. Because you are the agent that Ngozi Orabu Fulani is using, Agra. But you know what? You are all failures. You have already failed even before starting. You all are failures. You are already failed even before starting, okay?
Oh, my fellow great dear friends. Let's come together to our Prime Minister, Master Simon Ekpa, who is currently working time to hand over our freedom to us this year, 2024.
Join us on the studio and make your contribution. Dear friends.
Come in, Salute every dear friend, especially.
Join us on the studio, make your contribution. What do you have to tell our acting Prime Minister, our Information Minister, Sonia Barawa, the Biafran Defense Forces, the attorneys and the lobbyists? These are men that are making things happen. What do you have to say to the Biafran Republic government, NESA cabinet members, and the media platforms? They are making things happen for the freedom of the Biafran nation. The engagement and the achievement of our government wouldn't have been possible without the influence of the Brgie media by the Information Minister, Sonia Barawa. So, join us on the studio and make your contribution. Thank you.
Ayakata. Life is not easy. Sigh. Make it take and judge. I want to use this special opportunity to recognize great Dim Mebujuku. I can't also forget General Philip Effiong. Welcome, Chetakwana men underground. Umwoma kubigwe. Anyị na-afụ aka ọrụ unu. Airborne. De facto government in homeland. A special recognition to every Biafran who have been supporting from day one. May Elohim continue to flourish you in your different endeavors. This is Mazinandikano, Ohamadike, one of Biafra. The Prime Minister, Obatobier, Ogechukwu Keresi Mukelekio. Wokoma, Ogechio, Ogechukwu Kama, Ogechukwu Kaina Yono, no, Ogechukwu Kama, Onyamana Gidi Bakulo, Ogechukwu Kama, Wetichukwu Gazebele, Ogechukwu Kama, Ogechio, Ogechukwu Kama, Mama Biko Yobodisa, Ogechukwu Kama. Oge chupuka ina yono chupukama. Oge chupuka ina yona yasi. Oge chupukama. Ayole, ayiga kono le garole nu. Uwi bole, chetakwa na lubo fuo. 1 + 1 is 2 + 2 is 4. Ino. Onye puru chi uzo akwana no. Don't give up when it's so close. It's so close. Ogechukwu Kama, never you give up. No. Ogechukwu Kama, believe in it, brother. Ogechukwu Kama, never you say no. Ogechukwu Kama, Ogechukwu Kama, never you down your faith. No. Ogechukwu Kama, keep your head up, keep on fighting. Ogechukwu Kama, Oyabala, Ogechukwu Kama. A big shout out to Mazi Ogechukwu Kere. I salute you, my PM, as a Simon Iba. Life is sweet when you patient. The greatest shout out goes to the media team, great talents. They won.
Biafra Oracle, good morning from here. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me too?
Yes, welcome to the questionnaire. Yeah. Thank you for joining me. I can hear you, sir.
Thank you once again. Happy to be on your platform once again, discussing these matters.
There were Mazi.
I have seen your
Yeah.
Are you saying something?
Today. Yes, I'm trying to. You have been here, right? You can see what we are talking about. The achievement and the engagement of BRGIE, PM, the lobbyists, the attorneys, everybody that made this possible. What do you have to say, Mazi? Go ahead.
Well, I want to congratulate them. I want to say kudos to the airports. And they have tried, they have done a lot of good works. And then you can, it's like what the Bible would say. The Bible said some people planted, some other people watered, and some other people take care of it, and the plant grows. I think
Exactly.
um, this issue of agitation up to this point that is no longer agitation was planted. Some Ojuku planted, and at the end of the day, we have seen people who came who watered. Some people watered and then to their own pockets selfishly, but some people came like the likes of MNK and Mazu Simon Ekpa. These are people who came, who watered, and the plant has grown. Right now, we have seen
Exactly.
a lot of things. Then our APM is here now, doing marvelously well. Now, some people, why
Exactly.
what people don't understand, especially, one thing that makes me sad over this issue of Biafra agitation or Biafra request for freedom is that at each moment, God will give us the finest, a refined mind. But at the end, before you know it, the idiots, the illiterates, those who don't understand 1+1, what it means, will be the first to come and fix themselves. Fix themselves, hope, letting us see or making us to believe that they are real, they are genuine. But
Exactly.
at the same time, and in due time, something will happen and God will shake off these people. And you see the agitation, the quest for freedom shaking, as if the whole thing will end. But you don't know that shaking, that the whole thing is shaking, those ones that are not genuine, the selfish ones, the saboteurs will be dropping one by one in twos, in threes, and threes. And whenever they are shaking off completely, the agitation, the quest for freedom will steady again and start moving. But one thing is that within this shake-up time where people are being shaken off, it will slow down the whole thing. It will be as if the whole thing is not moving forward as it's supposed to be. But it's only the mind the mind that is refined, the mind that is a mind that has the mind of God will understand what is happening. Now, you see, I know
Exactly.
a lot of people will say APM is not doing this, APM is not doing that. They will refuse to see the ultimate work, the great work this man has done. They won't see it because their mind is not illuminated to that point. They felt like this agitation, this quest for freedom will be, going from one family meeting to the other, IPOB court style. We have, the felt will be running round, running round the square, the circle, year in, year out. The whole thing they made Nnamdi Kanu to see as if Nnamdi Kanu is only broadcasting. Nnamdi Kanu cannot do any other thing, only but talking on radio. It is their fault, not Nnamdi Kanu's fault. So
Exactly.
if anybody is not seeing the clear work that the APM has done, that person is a fool. That person is a fool. And I want to let our people understand one thing. There's something, I listen to a lot of people, both those who support the quest for freedom and those who don't support, both the Igbos, Yorubas, and the northern people as well. But the one that got my attention, which is something that I have already, seen in my own perspective. I've already thought of this. I've already said this in And that has been my opinion. But somebody will echo it, and this person has to be a Yoruba man. He re-echoed it, and I didn't see it as a tribal issue. Because I've seen it from my own clear lens that this is something that may happen. You know, the freedom we are looking for. A lot of people have died. A lot of people have gone. Some are in jail. Some places are our two leaders are in jail because of it. But at the end of the day, I am looking at it that this freedom might be handed to us on a platter of gold. I know some people will say, "What is this person talking about?" But I'm looking at this thing. This might be handed over to us on the platter of gold because I have seen something, and I listen to some people. See, if this so-called country survives to 2027, if this country survives 2027, it will be the grace of God. Are you hearing me? Are you there?
Yes, I'm hearing you, man.
Yes. If this
Yeah.
country survives 2027, it be the grace of God. So look at what this person said. It's a Yoruba, it's a Yoruba man, and the other person too. This one said that he explained the game Tinubu is playing with what he's doing. And Tinubu and the person said that all these things that is happening now that Tinubu is doing, that if they not do anything, I'm just summarizing what the person said. I don't want to go into long stories. He said if they do nonsense, there won't be election in 2027, and Tinubu will come down to Lagos and declare Oduduwa Republic. That is, he said, this is the game Tinubu is playing. This is what Tinubu is doing. Are you getting me? And I have I
Yes.
have thought of this. I have thought of this before, and that is why it's like I don't just believe what people say online just like that. But this kind of thing has it's been on my mind for a long time, and I heard this person saying it. I say this must be a confirmation. So why I'm saying that this freedom that they are doing as if it's impossible, nobody. I tell you that at the end of the day, it's something that will just walk into it just like that, and it will be surprise to many people. It will be a surprise thing to many people, and that is it. Then my advice to the APM and to all those who are in charge. What am I trying to say? That they all should be. Nobody should overrule anything. Nobody should disregard any information. Nobody should disregard what is being said out there. Every information should be gathered, processed, and kept in a safe place. Like this one I'm saying now, this information should not be waved off like that and say, oh, this thing should not be waved off. This thing should be gathered and kept it in mind, put it one side and keep watching so that eventually it happens that way. The politicians, those who want whatever will not hijack or will not step in and when it happens, then that place, that particular the southern people, according to this man said, the southern people will not be on their own. It's not about regional issues again. The southern he said it will be a division between the north and the south. So the south will now become their own country, the north will become their own country. So what I'm trying to say that eventually it trickles down that everybody now in the south just go on your own. So that our people, our boys, everybody should stand strong to be able to take that opportunity and not allow any group or any other people to do what? To hijack it. It's a very important issue there. So that they won't, if we have such opportunity, we'll just take it and take over the whole place before anybody will say anything, before anybody will come up with any issue. That's my advice there. So going back to that's just a kind of distraction for. So, but going back to what the topic of the day, the Brgie diplomatic engagement has done us. It has done a lot of. They have tried, just like I said before. They have done
Exactly.
so many work. They have done so many things. And I listened to the APM, the last meeting, town hall meeting, and I heard something. He said in a few more days we may have a breaking news, and I don't know what that breaking news is. I hope it's going to be the release of our PM. I'm praying. I'm praying. Let that breaking news be the release because
Uh,
I have seen the
handwriting on the wall.
not that handwriting of the word. You know the Ngozi business squad, the media squad. They have been
Uh,
putting all sorts of information that available has been released. That this and that. Nigeria ran away for
okay.
the court, all sort of things. And they down out. I've seen some people who are even carrying the same news. Basically, I'll just be looking at them. I'll be looking at them because the information, if I have to believe it, I have to see, I have
It
to
has
hear
to come
from the
from
right
our
source.
government. Yes.
Yes. So I don't even, I just, when I read that headline and see their thumbnail, I don't even click on it. It's just that information, that headline and that title they put there and they're listening on YouTube. I don't just, so because I am expecting to get it from one source, from the right source. So that's why I'm saying
Exactly.
that I hope that breaking news will be that Mazi Simon is finally out. So that we will now, so that we'll now focus on, the release of Mazi Nnamdi.
The Kano.
But let me tell you something. Those
Yes,
who are
but
holding, yeah,
Mazi, you said something very important now, and that what you just said remind of something. You said so. Let it be that we are focused on the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kano. That means
yeah,
we are fighting two battles. Why
two
we are
battles.
still fighting for prime minister, we are fighting for Mazi Nnamdi Kano. It means this government is
Yes,
really strong and doing a lot of things.
I am telling you. I am telling you. This is
Yes,
a very strong government. It's not only two battles. You are fighting
yeah.
for the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. You are
Leader
fighting for the release of um,
Simon Ekpa,
Mazi
you are
Samuel.
fighting for
You are
our land.
fighting against
Hey,
a sabotage. You are fighting in the homeland. You are fighting against the
the homeland.
sabotage of Ngozi Oraveze, the sabotage of
Yes,
Emma and the Choma and their group. A
Choma,
lot of things.
a lot of
A lot of
things.
things.
It's not easy.
It takes people with mind that will withstand all of this. It takes people with
Exactly.
mind that will withstand all of this. And one thing, like I used to say, I've said here before, that people should understand that, like people should understand that what you are fighting against and you're not able to defeat, you're not able to bring down that thing. They should look very well. They should think very well that there must be something there. You see, when IPOB caught, not IPOB, like, let me explain it. You have IPOB, you have IPOB caught. So
Exactly.
IPOB is what we are the like other people answer Duduwa and Arewa. So you have IPOB, the indigenous people, Then we have the court side of it, the one that China Sanwolu and Ninko Chika Dozian, the one they are running.
They are
So that is
champion. Yeah.
what the intentions of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, they turn it to, they remove it from the moment they take Mazi Nnamdi Kanu out of the way, they turn it to the court. Immediately, they turn it to a court. Okay, this reminds me. Let me say it before I move on. This reminds me. there is a pastor who called himself Maxwell.NIGBOO. I don't know whether you have come across him. He prophesies, he said he's prophesying, he's telling, yet he is still working with a powerful and China Sangolo and all of them. With the someone with the one he called a former or something like that. He's still working with these people. Then you will tell us, God showed you this, God showed you this, we'll pray like this, we'll pray like that. God showed you this. The informations that God showed you that you need to pass across the people to the people, you take it back to the people who are responsible for what the same Namazin Namdekan is passing through. Now, I became my surprise or my worry is there is that if God can show you and show you this and show you that, the same God will not show you that the people you are taking back the information are the people who are responsible for the problem you think
Exactly.
prophecy is going to solve. Are you getting my point?
Exactly. I'm getting it.
Are you getting my point? So why
Yes.
God that is showing you the prophecies you are prophesying about Nnamdi and what is going to happen, the same God will not show you that the people you are taking back the information to for them to broadcast on Radio Biafra are the people who put Nnamdi in that position.
The kind there.
This
Exactly.
is what I don't understand. This is how they make themselves, even if God is talking to them, they come out again and with their actions, they make themselves, fake. I don't call them fake. They call themselves fake. Because if you tell me that God will not show you the source of the problem you are trying to use your prophecy to solve. No, that should not be God. That should not be God. Because God is the God of solution. He will give you, he will pick up the problem from the source and then solve it.
And give you a solution.
It cannot be at the point of solution, trying to solve problem that you do not know you don't know what caused it.
The Genesis.
That is.
Yes.
So if that man is listening or he's listening to your, I want to tell him that he should stop disturbing our peace. If you don't know that the former or whoever you're calling, you say you gave them information to broadcast on Radio Biafra for what God told you that Biafra should do. You tell them they did not broadcast it. They are sending you a message. They are fighting you. If you don't know that these people you are running back to with information you claim God showed you, if you don't know that they are the people who put Martin Lamdikali in this same problem, better leave the internet space. Go face your church.
Exactly.
Face your church and stop disturbing our peace. If you can't understand it, face your church. I don't really understand what he is doing. So that's apart. That's I just want to say it, but for people who listen to him, because these things baffles me. These things baffles me. If God wants to take you, if God wants to use you to solve a problem, the real God I know, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of heaven that I know, if God wants to use you to solve a problem, he will take you to the root first. He will understand the root cause of those things, and then he will give you your manifestation from the back end. In the back end, he has given you every information, whatever you need to know. Bringing you to the front end is for you to manifest and solve the problem. You cannot come on the front end and you're trying to solve a problem you don't know, you don't have access to the back end,
Exactly.
either by revelation or by whatever means. That is not God. So whoever that is coming to prophesy on issues that have to do with Biafra and Biafra agitation should be careful. We are not dummies in these things. Some of us knows what it means to have revelations. Some of us knows what it means to get information from God. So
Exactly.
anybody who is coming to prophesy, if you are coming on the surface, know that you are not talking to us. Go to the root cause. Solve the issues from the root cause. And then come on the surface and manifest. And that is how God does his thing. That's how God does his thing. So congratulations to APM. But the APM, I am telling you, I'm telling you, on the lighter notes, let that your breaking news be that our APM has been released. So
Our PM, yeah.
that's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear. Let that breaking news. I know that Americans, they are opening their eyes. They are opening their eyes. The same way the French, the French people are losing territories in other countries of of Africa. It's the same way America is also losing territories. You know, the French is there. Why their own is so much pronounced is that they do their own direct.
Yeah.
They do their own direct. Americans and Britain will use Africans to do
Proxy.
their own. So when once they lose territory, you might not know. You might not sound, but these people that are coming direct by their own, when they are pursuing them, you can see that this to them. But America is losing also territories. They are losing mineral resources as these countries of Africa are waking up. So I think those countries, like Nnamdi Kanu will say, that those countries they depend on crude oil, mineral resources. That Biafra will only depend on human resources, not mineral resources, and that is why our freedom is much more important to us than what is under the soil. So if America knows what is good to them, for them, before they will lose everything and they will not see anywhere, let them come. Our own, we are ready to, like Nnamdi Kanu say, we'll pipe it free. Come and take it free. We need our freedom. We need to use our brain. We need to use ourselves. We need to develop ourselves. Come and take oil. Recognize Biafra. If oil is your problem, come and take it. You know, we after all for 50 years or 50, 60 years, Nigeria in has been on ground.
They have been swimming on that oil. We are not benefiting
we have,
anything.
we are not benefiting anything. So why will it be? Why will we now hold ourselves down? Say, God, don't take our oil. Don't take our oil. How will we be doing that? Have we benefited from it? Let them come out. If they can took pipe, if they can put pipe and take it as Britain is taking it, and then give us that recognition that we need. That's all. Because China, China is not. They are not producing phones with crude oil. They are not
Exactly.
producing phones with with the
China is
developments and the
China
inventions.
exporting oil. They are not exporting oil.
The inventions and everything that is going on in China is not oil. Is not good. It's not diamond. They are not get this. Is human resources,
Exactly.
brain. When you get it right, countries that have oil will sell their oil to come and buy your technology. Are you getting it? They
Yeah.
will buy. They will sell their oil at any price and come and beg you to bring in your technology. That's the thing. So I am telling them. I believe they are waking up, and then thanks to our APM for the good works. Thanks for waking them up, and thank God for making them to do what? To listen at this point. Thank God for not allowing them to be running away that they used to run in the time past. And now they will be able to sit down, they're able to see things, and they're able to reason with us, and they'll be able to fight for us. And again, before I hit the mic, I still listen to this. I keep talking about him. This Marcel Okocha Happy. In one of his program, he was talking about how America will invade Nigeria. So he was explaining it on the side of someone that is a one Nigerianist. Are you getting me? He
Yes.
was explaining it as a one Nigerianist. But those of us who are listening know that if America invade Nigeria today, there is only one reason. There's only one. There's a people who made it possible. America wouldn't just wake up one day and decide to invade Nigeria. Some people made. Biafra Republic government in exile made it possible.
Possible.
So that made it possible. So kudos to them. Kudos to
Definitely.
them. And America should not waste time. People are dying. They shouldn't waste time. Let them come, please. So let me use my mic for now. I'll come back later.
Thank you, Maz. Thank you, Mazi. Thank you, Mazi. And we want to use this opportunity also to inform our listeners anywhere that you are listening from. No Biafra, Nigeria election in Biafra land. I wish our government is going to come out with a very strong comment on that. So I just see somebody was talking about forthcoming Anambra election and all the rest of it. We are not part of Nigeria. We are Biafrans. We have restored our nation, Biafra. As a matter of fact, December 2nd, 2024, that was the ratification of the declaration that was made on 29th of December. So we are no longer part of Nigeria. People should get that at the back and the front of their minds. Anybody that is telling you about Anambra election is an enemy of the Biafran nation. Is an enemy of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Is an enemy of Prime Minister Simon Ekpa. Is an enemy of the Biafran people. In 19th of June 2021, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped. The Biafran people came together and decided to sit at home. That sit at home is for the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. That sit at home is for Nigeria to exit Biafra land. Up to this moment that we are still speaking, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has not been released. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was in detention when 2023 election, even when we were against it, although it was not conducted like it used to be in Biafran territory. But today, as we have restored our nation Biafra, it will be a shame that you that voted for the self-referendum, we have over 50 million Biafrans who voted for Biafra actualization, that you will now go back and allow Nigeria to conduct election in your land. It will be a shame. So we are using this opportunity to inform Biafrans in homeland. I don't know what you stand to benefit Nigeria election. Since time immemorial, just like the oil, we have had oil. Nigeria have been exploiting our oil for a very long time, but there is nothing to show for that oil exploration for our land. Look at Ogoni cleanup. Ogoni cleanup have not happened, even when it took the life of Ken Sori-Wiwa and Adakaboro and all the rest of Biafrans who stood their ground to fight for resource control and make sure that they have a better living condition in their communities. Nigeria did not listen to them. Rather, Nigeria killed them in order to continue their exploitation of the people. The same thing applies to election. Since time immemorial up to this moment, elections have come, elections have gone. Those who benefit from the elections are the criminals who are vying for political office. Because once they get in there, they employ their cronies, their associates, they embezzle money, they siphon money, and go and stock them abroad, build properties, buy land, and do all manner of things that are detrimental to the communities that all these things are coming out from. So we have said there is no more election Nigeria in Biafran territory. That is why we vehemently voted for Biafran referendum, and over 50 millions of Biafrans all over the world voted for Biafra actualization and restoration. So when you see that the Nigerian government are trying to conduct any election in Biafran territory, and you as a Biafran, you should be wise enough to know that that is a trap that is set for you. You should be wise enough not to participate in any form of Nigerian election in Biafra land. As a matter of fact, we have a government, Biafran Republic government in exile. The only election that is acceptable, approved by the Biafran people, will be an election that will be conducted by the transitional government when Biafra is fully restored. Not any Nigerian election in Biafra land. So I want all of you that are in the homeland to be aware of any form of electoral materials being distributed or electoral personnel coming to your any manner of campaign, election this, election that. It is not acceptable in our land. And if you try to see or to know what the government is going to do, actions to be taken against those who are coming to do election in our land, you will eventually understand that this time around, we don't look faces. This time around, we are not going to look at who you are when punishment is being meted against anybody that is going to stand against our freedom. Because standing for election, it means you are standing against our freedom. So no election will be acceptable in Biafran territory going forward. So I want you to know that as time goes on, DRGIE, government, our APM, with a very strong statement on that. The same thing will apply to the Biafran de facto government in the homeland, the Biafran Defense Forces. They will come out with a very strong statement to prove and to tell Biafrans the election will never hold in our territory. So beware of any Nigerian in Biafra land. It is not going to be acceptable by us, the Biafran people. So thank you, Biafrans, for being part of this program. Please, if you have not subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Join us, join us, join us, and support what we are. Mazi, welcome back. Go ahead. Join us and do the needful, because we have a lot and lot to do for the Biafran people. Our platforms, we are going to use it to educate our people, and as well to ask certain questions that you feel pertinent questions that you don't know the answer. You can test or you join us on the studio and ask questions. Any ones that we can't answer you directly, we are going to refer you to the authorities who are responsible or who are in charge of such position or are in position to respond to you directly. Very, very important. Go ahead. You have something to say.
Okay, just to add my voice to the election issue.
Yeah.
Nobody at this point, I don't think anybody should, expect to be told what to do at this point. I don't think anybody should do that, except those who have one or two things to benefit from the election. But the ordinary man who does not have anything, who have hope in the quest for restoration of our freedom, should not be told to stay at home. Should not be told to stay at home. And most importantly, or listen, the election you are talking about, it's not okay. The Anambra State owned by next month. You have been told that there won't be any election in Anambra. Now, the other one in 2027, nobody is 100% sure. Even the politicians themselves are not sure 100% that that election will hold. Nobody is sure at this point. Nobody is sure at this point. So when the major one in 2027, nobody is sure. I mean, next year, it's not 2027. It's because the election, the general one will happen in sometime towards the end of 2026. So if that of general election 2026 as against 2027, the politicians or the players themselves, the political players themselves are not sure what is going to happen. So why don't you respect yourself? Why don't you respect yourself and support where your hope lies? Respect yourself. Don't lay your soul or life down on the altar of what you don't even have a say in it, on the altar of something that cannot benefit you anyhow, anywhere. Don't lose your life. Keep your life and support where your hope lies. The hope of the people, the Biafran quest for freedom, so that at the end of the day, you have your life to enjoy what is coming. So that you have your life to enjoy and be treated as a human being before you join your ancestors when the time comes. If you go out there, you have been told, when you are told that there won't be election. So the enemy sees that as an opportunity to kill. If you come out, you will be killed. And when you are killed, God forbid, they will turn around and say, those IPOB boys, they are enforcing no election and they are killing your people like up and down. They will use propaganda and nobody will do anything about it. So please, you are still very important to us. Next month, stay in your house. Stay in your house and don't go and lose your life, because with what is going on, with what we're seeing, anybody who died now died for nothing. If you die for one Nigeria, you die for nothing. Because the Nigeria you want to die for is shaking. It's shaking seriously. It's shaking seriously. If you don't know, take your time, go on YouTube, listen to different political statements and expressions that what people are saying, especially from the north, from the southwest. I know our political jobbers are fools. They don't even have a say. They don't know what is going. You can't hear anything good from them. You can't hear you can't hear any. They can't make any statement. They can't come online and say something that the ears can hear. You can't see it. You can't. But when you see these people from the north, they come out, they make statements, they talk, on behalf of their people, on the interest of their people. You see the people, our brothers in the West, they come online, they talk in the interest of their people, but you can't see all these Southeast politicians. You can't see them because there's no way coming online to be saying those things might make that money from that might stop that money from coming into their pocket. So they can't go. They can't say anything. So we have been listening, we have been hearing what is going on and where this ship is likely to dock. So please and please, stay in your house. Stay in your house. There is the stray bullet or bullet does not know who is who. The only thing is that whoever bullets touches must. It's God that will save you. And you see the kind of bullets they are bringing in Biafra land to to look for what is not looking for them. Please, you have been told. You have been told. Let us for once support our people. Let us come together. The unity the unity of purpose in this time is very much important. The unity, the Igbos must learn how to unite in one voice. I know that our people are not, that kind of people that one person can rise up and speak for all. But we can speak with different voices, different sounds, but all saying the same thing and all in one voice and in unity, saying our minds, and our minds will be one because the enemies are banking so much on this disunity. They are banking. Their work they love when there is problem, when there is katakata everywhere, they love it. And when once the Igbo man is trying to unite, it's a threat to them, and they will do something. They will even sponsor terrorism and blame it on those who are trying to make sure that there is unity, so that they can scatter what they are working for, the unity they are working for. So please, let us speak with one voice this time. If you have children in your house running up and down, think of what you have passed through before you get married to their mother and before you give birth to them, and see that eventually you leave them behind and go to answer your creator. You're supposed to know what they are going to face when you are not there. It's not about I don't know. If you don't know, people say if you want to know how your wife will look like at old age, say look at your mother-in-law. That's a picture to tell you what your wife will be, what your wife will look at in her old age. So if you can't tell me, if you can't tell me you don't know what your children will face in the future. If you don't know, look at what you have faced growing up, coming up to the level you are now. So if it is pleasant to you, then we know that there's something wrong somewhere. But if it's not pleasant to you, if you see it as a bad thing, and I believe you not want your children to go through such thing again, now is the time to make the correction. Now is the time to turn around. Now is the time to make amends. And the amends you have to make is not, you don't have gun and you're not allowed to carry gun and you may not be able to shoot. The correction you have to make is by doing what? Following what we call civil disobedience. And when you go, it's your right. It's your right. When you stay in your house, it makes it, even though they will write or whatever, do whatever they want to make sure, to make sure that they announce somebody as a winner. But at the end of the day, it still boils down that these people did not vote. At some point, you will hear them say it. At some point, confession will come from their mouth that these people did not vote. Either when there is something good to do for the people, they will not come down and tell you, say you did not vote. So that is to tell you that whether you vote or you don't vote, they know, but they will still do what they want to do. So along the line, you lose your life. What will you get? So please, you had it, no election in Anambra. Please respect yourself. That's all from on that angle.
Thank you so much. Well said, well spoken. No
Thank you.
election in Biafra land. If you are part of that conversation, to join in any Nigeria election in our communities, in our counties, in our states, want you to understand it will never be accepted in our land. And don't make yourself available for the Nigerian government to use you as a propaganda tool, because they are going to come very hard on you. When we put it at home, they are going to deploy their terrorists to come and buy you in the guise to accuse the Biafran Republic government in exile. So prevention is better than cure. Don't engage in any electioneering campaign, any form of election in our territory. It's not welcomed whatsoever. So thank you so much. And I want to round it up. I have a space that is on running as we speak. I want to appreciate everyone that joined us on the message of Biafra will continue to go high all over the world. If you have not been supporting or you have not supported our quest for freedom, this is the time for you to join. This is the time for you to support. Freedom is very, very, very important. We are not only for ourselves, we are fighting for our generation. We are fighting for our children, even the ones that are yet to be born. It is the greatest legacy, the greatest gift you can give to your children, for them to live in a free society. Very, very important. Having said that, Mazi, your final words to Biafrans who are listening before I call it a day. Mazi, can you hear me? I say your final word to Biafrans before I can call it a day, if you are listening. Okay, Mazi is not close to his device. So I want to appreciate every one of you who joined me in this important program today. Today we talked about Brigie's diplomatic engagement and achievements. And we say kudos to our lobbyists, our attorneys, kudos to our APM, kudos to our information minister, kudos to Brgie government, kudos to you Biafrans, kudos to the media platforms, media teams, kudos to the defense forces. They made all these achievements and engagements possible. And kudos to you that are listening as well, because our information wouldn't have gone wide if you are not part of it. So we appreciate every one of you. On that note, I salute each and every one of you who was part of today's broadcast. And I say, may Chukwu Okike Abiyama continue to direct us, protect our leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, strengthen our Prime Minister, Mazi Simon Ekpa Njogu, provide for Biafrans who are contributing to our freedom, and protect the Biafran Defense Forces who are taking bullets for you and for me. Before I will sign out, I want to play you the clip of our Prime Minister and our leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. I will end with that first.
People must come out to say that enough is enough. When you travel to the north, you live in the forest in the north. The Igbo people are in Sabon in Kanu. Are they living in of course, it's Hausa land. And they came to the town. They work very hard. They build mansions. They develop the entire place. Is that not what they do? What are Fulani people doing in our forest? Nobody can answer that question. They say that they're pastoralists. World aspiring to be a member of the UN Security Council, where you move cattle from place to place. Are you people well at all? You so-called Nigerian well in the brain? I'm asking you a simple question. Show me a country that to be in the 21st century moving cattle from place to place, telling me they're grazing. Which country is that? Please tell me. These are people that have prepared for you to sell you down the drain. By the time the Fulanis are done with you, believe you me, if you don't rise up for your freedom, by the time Fulanis are done with you, you'll be more useless than a Hausa peasant.
Well, thank you, Your Excellency. My name is Jim Moran. I served in the United States Congress for approximately a quarter of a century. After I left the Congress, I began to represent some corporations and countries and causes that I believe in. It has been an honor to work with you, Your Excellency. Elias Gerasulis is my partner. This is primarily Elias's account, but I'm going to be working with him. While I was in the Congress, I was on the committee that funds Defense and State Department Foreign Operations, as well as the Foreign Relations Committee. I have an interest in Africa. I was a principal co-sponsor of the African Growth and Opportunity Act. But most importantly, I do believe that Biafran independence is a just and noble cause. And I trust that you have a future ahead. We will try to your independence. We can't promise because the politics is not a particularly predictable situation in the United States today, and justice is not always served, but we will work towards that objective. I appreciate the opportunity to work on behalf of the Biafran people, and at this point, let me turn it over to Elias. Elias?
Oh, thank you, Jim. And it's an honor to be working with you on this, and we appreciate your thing, your support, someone of your prestige and stature. That association would be so critical. So thank you, Jim. I appreciate it. And thank you, Mr. Prime Minister, Your Excellencies, and dear Biafrans in the United States and around the world. My name is Elias Gerasulis, and I am a good friend and colleague of Congressman Moran, and we are your new lobbyists here in Washington. However, you should know that we are more than just your lobbyists. We are fellow freedom fighters in the struggle for the liberation by Africa. And similar to how your compatriots in the Biafran Defense Forces are securing your freedom on the homeland, we will be fighting for your freedom in the political and diplomatic battlefield here in Washington, D.C. And we will make sure that all these U.S. officials, all these congressmen and senators understand that the Biafran movement is a pure democratic civilian uprising against injustice, the very same one that we had in the United States when we declared our independence from the British 200 years ago. On a personal level, I knew I had to get involved in this struggle, not only because of my belief in the Biafran cause, but in His Excellency, the Prime Minister Simon Ekpa. I got to know the Prime Minister. I could see that he has remarkable leadership qualities and vision. And I knew that instinctively that he was a man of destiny and that he will have a very important impact in Africa in the year. And I thought it was a personal duty to assist him. Already, the Prime Minister has made remarkable progress and has outsmarted the Nigerian system in many ways. The Prime Minister has done this with the self-referendum. He has done this with opening diplomatic liaison offices around the world. And I think by establishing a proper Biafran lobby in Washington, D.C., the Prime Minister has delivered his master's. And if you can look at the Nigerian media and the social media, you will see that this is something that's been highly publicized. And I think this is because they understand the moment that the United States starts to gain more support for the Biafran cause, it will be a game changer, because when the United States leads, other countries follow. Congressman Moran and myself are your voice to the U.S. Congress, your voice to the White House, your voice to the State Department, your voice to the highest offices in this great land. And we will not stop until victory is achieved. Long live a free, independent, and sovereign Biafra. Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister.
Thank you very much for that brilliant speech there. Lawyers, we're happy to have you on board, and we have a lot of things to do together. Thank you. This particular appearance today is just to present you to France in the United States. As I made my promise, I have fulfilled it. It is now that we go out there and do what we know how to do best.
Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister. It's our honor, and we look forward to serving you in the cause. Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister.
Thank you very much. Nice to have you.
Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister. It was a pleasure to see you again.
Thank you.
Working with you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Chimora. Thank you.
There's a grave in the ground that shouldn't be there. There's a child with no bed and nobody cares. There's a woman who prayed while the system played, and another name the world erased. But I hear the dust cry out, I feel the sky bend low, and if no one else will say, then I will let them know. Enough, no more hiding what you've done. Enough. We remember everyone, from the camps to the cry. We carry their names. You buried the bodies. But let the flame.
And if you allow yourselves to be deceived, things can only get worse. Fulani terrorists will take over your land. Time again, I have warned you on this very matter, but some of you never, because in this life what goes around comes around. If you support evil today because you're benefiting, event overwhelm you.